When I was a kid, I used to imagine a shadow running alongside the car where my parents drove us around. I would even use my fingers as legs, so I figured I could recreate that with an animation. I also happened to be on vacation in Mexico City when the idea struck, and the streets there were so pretty. I figured I could make a good runner scene animated just like I pictured as a kid. Because unlike my hometown, that city has pretty interesting stuff in its streets. The first step was getting a good shot of the streets. It took a while, but I had plenty of opportunities while I was there. Some were alright, but most of them were useless as everything becomes a blur after a certain speed. So I took a lot, like a lot. The thing about this shadow, though, is that I told nobody about it, and I genuinely thought that I was the only one who did this. It turns out there's a whole bunch of us, and if you're watching this, most likely you did too. I call it a shadow because I picture it like that, but some people actually have characters in mind like Spider-Man, Sonic, and Ninja Turtles. Some people picture dinosaurs, others have vehicles like dirt bikes and skateboards, and others have specific rules like not touching the ground, destroying things instead of jumping around. I have to confess I only thought of the shadow as an acrobat challenged by the speed of a car that simply had to catch up. Once I got home, I made my very first mistake in this project. I started with my iPad using Procreate because it has an assisted animation feature that I wanted to try. All I had to do was import a few frames of the video into the app, and holy crap, that was a lot of frames. So to reduce the number of frames, I simply sped up the video, and this was important because I wanted to use the video as a reference. But this was not a great idea after I was done animating. Okay, I'm done with the sketch, but I just found out that if I want to add more frames to the animation, like to make it more smooth, I can't. Because now I don't have a reference frame from the sped up video that I just did. And if I re-render more frames for it, I will lose all of these frames I already did. So let's trace every frame I made, but this time in Blender using the original video as reference instead. Honestly, animating on Blender was even more fun. Adding the in-betweens, experimenting with the timing, and animating the arms and legs as if they had weight and momentum was the coolest part. It took about 3 hours for the sketch alone, because the camera tracking, well, that was frustrating, but I'm going to use that for the next stage of the animation. This was my first camera tracking attempt, and I think I was just very unlucky because I might have chosen the worst type of video to try that on. You see, to track that footage I need 8 active points, and with this footage, the points disappear after every 4 or 5 frames. So I really had to track most of these points manually, and that took a lot of time. I of course tried to brute force the result with automatic features, but the result was wacky, and even after I was done I was facing more issues. Okay, I got the results from the camera tracking, but something's not right. You see these markers right here? You can see how it's right on the very corner of the stripe. That marker is this one. So this one is supposed to be right here, but it's not, it's all the way over here. I don't know why this happened, but I figured that the problem was the focal length. And the focal length, I got it right here. Right now it's at 53.72. But if I change it to something that it's supposed to be 24, because the iPhone, I'm pretty sure I filmed on 1x. Maybe I zoomed in a little. So I'm gonna try to match it to 24. And when I do that, see how the tracker begins to approach the corner right there? Maybe 30.5. And now it's right there. So if I scroll over the animation, it is keeping track of the stripe. corner. I think that's close enough. Maybe that works. So if you know what happened there, let me know in the comments. I don't know why I had to fix it. I'm guessing the tracking is supposed to give you the actual focal length, but in my case it didn't. So anyways. And with that, you can see the spheres and other block objects now move as if they are part of the clip. Nice. And this is what it looks like right now. So, the next step involves using a 3D character that interacts with the light and the environment and smooths out the keyframes. So I prepared this character exactly how I imagined it as a kid. And after modeling and rigging, I'm ready to continue animating. By the way, if you want to grab a copy of this model right here, you can get it on Blender Market. It's pretty solid for animations like this, and it will include this parkour run. Links in the description. I don't have a sponsor, so this is one of the best ways you can support this channel as well. And this is the relaxing part. I only need to match the 3D model to the camera poses of the 2D sketch and let Blender interpolate the frames in between. I made a live session of this process over on TikTok, and it was fun answering questions from people stumbling on my stream wondering what the hell I was doing. After all the keyframes are done, I go over all the keyframes again and fine-tune the frames and solve errors. This takes the most time, but it's enjoyable. Animate the body and limbs, and then fine-tune the pose, collisions and fingers, and you're golden. So I hit render and get that into Lumafusion to add some sound effects. Now I don't have a lot of experience with sounds, but I just added step sounds, swooshes for jumping, landing sounds, and traffic elements. Added some distortions that I have no idea what they do, but managed the volumes and ta-da! When I began this project, I was only trying to make my imagination into something tangible. I never imagined so many of us saw the same thing and never got a way to express it. I have a theory that it's most of us that grew in the 2D video game era that were able to see the platform world that staring at a car window becomes. But that's just a theory. Again. Alright, until next time, thanks for watching.